The alarm begins as a scream. Not sound, gravity. The palace shudders. Spires of living crystal crack. Star maps bleed static. Somewhere beyond the hull, something ancient moves, and space itself flinches. Queen Elix rises from the throne in one fluid motion. 4 hearts hammer. Her crown flares cold blue. The void has found her again. Next, a courier drone explodes through the chamber doors. Molten metal and panic. Its final pulse projects a single image, a cradle ship, torn open, drifting near a red dwarf. Empty pods. Claw marks. No survivors confirmed. Her daughters. Lost. The chamber stills. Generals freeze mid-breath. Priests choke on prayers. The queen does not scream. She cannot. Queens who scream fracture empires. She issues one command. Search. The galaxy answers with silence. Continues. Days collapse into hours. Fleets fan outward like shattered glass. Scouts vanish. Beacons go dark. Each report reveals the same lie wearing different faces. Nothing found. Hope thins. Grief sharpens. Then the enemy announces itself. A shadow cuts across the outer systems. Not a ship, an absence. Stars dim as it passes. Planets lose tides. Ancient records wake and whisper a forbidden name. The Devourer tide. A migratory extinction. It does not conquer. It harvests. Elix watches the holo as entire colonies blink out. One by one. The map becomes a wound. Her advisor steps closer. Your Majesty. The brood may already. The Queen's claws cut the air. Do not finish that sentence. Next, a relic hums beneath the throne. Old. Human old. A gift from a species that burned bright and fast, then vanished into myth. The Queen never activated it. No need. Until now. She presses her palm to the sigil. The device begins to sing. Coordinates spill like rain. Not from imperial space. Not from the Devourer's wake. From a nowhere between lanes. An impossible pocket wrapped in interference and heat. A trap. Or a miracle. The priests recoil. It violates physics. Elix's eyes harden. So did motherhood. Reveals. A secondary feed punches. Through. Grainy. Shaking. A cradle pod. Intact. Tumbling. Inside a storm of nanite ash. Around it, figures move. Not her kind. Upright. Small. Fragile looking. Humans. The feed cuts. Something locks onto the signal. Something notices. Red warning glyphs ignite. The Devourer tide turns slightly toward the coordinates. Elix straightens. Grief retreats. Something older steps forward. Hope, sharpened into a weapon. Prepare the armada, she says. We jump now. The stars bend. And somewhere in the dark, a human hand slams a hatch shut as the hunt continues. The jump ends inside fire. Space boils. Sensors scream. The armada tears out of hyperspace. Straight into a storm of nanite. Ash. Metal dust alive with hunger. Ships lose shields in seconds. Hulls blister. Crews brace for death. Then something impossible reveals itself. A sphere of heat, perfect, deliberate, burns at the storm's heart. Not plasma. Not magic. Controlled fusion wrapped in magnetic skin. Inside it, a single object spins. A cradle pod. Intact. The Queen's fleet falters. Admirals shout warnings. The Devourer tide looms at the edge of the system. Its shadow stretching closer, tasting. And around the pod. Humans. Not ships. Suits. 6 of them, tethered together, dancing through annihilation like its weather. Their armor is scorched, patched, mismatched. Old tech welded to newer scars. Thrusters cough instead of roar. One suit leaks vapor. They are laughing. Audio bleeds through the feed, broken, distorted, but unmistakable. Told you the shield would hold. Stop celebrating, it's cracking. Eyes up, motion spike, 12 o'clock. Next, a wave ripples through the nanites. They converge. They learn. The storm tightens like a fist. A human turns. Raises an arm. The heat sphere flares brighter. Nanites die by the trillions. The Queen leans forward. Her heart stutter. That output should tear the pod apart. It doesn't. The humans adjust. On the fly. No counsel. No prayer. Instinct. Reveals. The devourer tide reacts. Tendrils of nothingness unfold, bending light, reaching. The galaxy holds its breath. The humans see it. Nope, one says. Calm. Almost bored. That's too big. They pivot as one. Thrusters fire. The heat sphere collapses inward, reshaping, compressing. The pod is shoved forward, hard, like a thrown stone. Straight at the Queen's flagship. Catch! A human yells. Alarms detonate across the bridge. Shields spike. Gravity lurches. The cradle pod slams into the capture field. Meters from the hull, spinning, alive. Inside, 3 heartbeats flicker. Elix's daughters. Alive. The Queen does scream now. It tears through steel and soul. Relief crashes into rage so pure it bends posture. The Empire feels it. Continues. The humans are not done. They turn back toward the storm. What are they doing? An admiral whispers. A human voice cuts through, suddenly direct, patched into the flagship channel. Queen Elix, it says. Breathless. Focused. We can't outrun that thing. But we can slow it. A pause. A grin audible in the tone. You're gonna want a head start. The humans ignite every reactor they have. Their suits begin to burn white. They fly straight at the devourer tide. The shadow reacts. Too late. Space folds. Light screams. Something ancient is forced to notice pain for the first time in eons. The Queen's claws dig into the throne. Recall them, she commands. The human replies softly, almost kindly. Negative, Your Majesty. Then, louder. For the kids. The storm collapses inward as the devourer howls. The devourer tide does not scream. It fractures. Space buckles as the humans burn themselves into a moving sun, dragging the nanite storm and the shadow with them. Physics bends. Old laws snap. The void learns fear. On the Queen's bridge, time slows. Sensors show impossible readings. Mass without matter. Heat without flame. Gravity curling into claws. The humans are tearing a wound open inside the devourer, forcing it to consume its own edges. They'll be erased, a general says. No recovery window. No survivability curve. Elix rises. No, she answers. They're buying time. Next, the devourer adapts. It always does. Tendrils shear free, slicing toward the Queen's fleet, bypassing the dying storm. Planets behind them flicker on the casualty projections. Too slow to flee. Too many to save. The Queen makes a choice no ruler should ever have to make. All ships, she commands. Form on me. The Armada hesitates, then obeys. Her flagship's core unlocks. Ancient safeguards peel away. Power climbs past red lines written into legend. The throne room darkens as energy drains from everything else. The human relic beneath the throne awakens fully. It was never a beacon. It was a key. Reveals. A human voice echoes from the device, distorted by time. If you're hearing this, you're desperate. Good. Desperate people do brave things. Coordinates unfold, not places, but moments. Fold points where reality is thin because humans once refused to accept limits there. Elix understands. Align the fleet, she says. We jump through them. Admirals pale. Majesty, those paths are unstable. Incomplete. Human-made. Her eyes burn. Exactly. Next, the devourer strikes. A tendril pierces the outer screen, deleting a cruiser from existence. No explosion. Just absence. The humans flare brighter, fading, but defiant. A voice cuts through again, weaker now. Queen, when you jump, don't look back. Another voice laughs. Yeah, we hate goodbyes. The jump begins. Space folds, not smoothly, but violently, like tearing cloth. The fleet plunges through stitched moments of human history. A world holding its breath before first launch. A station surviving on fumes and stubbornness. A battlefield where retreat was impossible. Each fold reveals the same truth. Humans never ran when something else was depending on them. The devourer follows, and breaks. Its shadow stretches too thin across too many impossible angles. Sections shear away, lost between moments. The wound the humans opened widens, destabilizing the whole. On the bridge, alarms fall silent one by one. The jump ends. Stars return. Behind them, the devourer tide collapses into fragments. Starving, confused, no longer infinite. Victory hangs unfinished. And then, a weak signal appears. Human. Barely there. The Queen's breath catches. Trace it, she orders. Now. Somewhere in the dark, something refuses to die. The signal flickers like a dying star. Weak. Fragmented. Human. The Queen does not sit. She stands at the edge of the bridge. Claws. Digging into light itself as navigators chase the trace through collapsing data. Lock it, she commands. They do. Next, space opens to reveal wreckage wrapped in silence. Shattered nanite ash. Frozen arcs of burned gravity. And at the center, a human ship. Not a warship. A patchwork rescue tug held together by welds. Faith and insults painted on the hull. Half its systems are dead. The other half refuse to admit it. Life signs blink. 6. The bridge exhales as one. The humans are pulled aboard the flagship. Scorched, limping, grinning through blood and burns. One salutes badly. Another immediately sits on the floor. The first says, permission to collapse. Granted. Reveals, they lived by turning the devourer's hunger against itself. Fed it heat. Fed it mass. Fed it defiance. Forced it to split, then starve. No prophecy. No destiny. Just refusal. Queen Elix approaches. Her daughters are brought forward, alive, unbroken, eyes bright. They reach for the humans without fear. One child hugs a human's leg. The galaxy changes. The Queen kneels. Empires record this moment and never understand it. You are owed worlds, she says. Name your price. The humans exchange looks. One shrugs, carefully, painfully. Keep the kids safe. Maybe. Don't let that thing happen again. Another adds, and if it does, call us. Laughter ripples through the bridge. Disbelief. Or, next, the message spreads. The devourer tide is broken. Not destroyed, but afraid. It reroutes. Avoids certain regions. Avoids a particular insignia hastily painted onto human hulls. Across the galaxy, predators recalculate. Civilizations that hid now stand taller. Because something worse than them exists. Humans who care. Reveals, they. Queen orders a new decree carved into crystal and broadcast on every frequency. Any human vessel is under royal protection. Any human child is kin. Any threat to either is a declaration of war. The humans protest. That's a bit much. Elix smiles, sharp and proud. You saved my daughters. She leans closer. You taught my empire what courage looks like. Continues, years later. Explorers whisper of strange sights at the edge of known space. Shadows retreating. Ancient horrors going quiet. And sometimes, a battered human ship drifting where it shouldn't be. Waiting. Not for rescue. For the next impossible thing that needs doing. Because when hope fades, grief wins, and the galaxy looks away. Humans don't. They stay. And the universe learns the final lesson far too late. Never touch what a human has decided to protect.